Are you always coming up with ideas? Do you marvel at successful business owners? Do you hate being told what to do? Ever take things apart just to see how they work? Are you a dreamer? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Pro Tapes and Specialties is the world leader in tape manufacturing and specialty conversion with over 40 years of experience. In addition to our pro brand of high-quality specialty adhesive tapes, we provide contract converting services that help improve your profitability, streamline your supply chain, and reduce inventory cost. We offer the most complete range of converting capabilities in the industry, such as cloth tape, double-coated tape, specialty tape, paper tape, masking tape,
vinyl tape, carton sealing tape, adhesive transfer tape, duct tape, foam tape, electrical tape, filament tape, foil tape, reflective tape.
And the tape just keeps on rolling. Visit us online today at www.protapes.com or call us at 800-345-0234. Pro Tapes, it's just how we roll.
Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Entrepreneur Enclave, Life's Coming Attraction. I'm your host, Kevin Wortham. Listen, before we get into our guests, I always make this mistake of not asking folks to follow us, to like us, subscribe, leave questions, concerns, or comments so that we can really find out how do we create stories to make them more impactful and to make them more engaging. So please, after this episode is over, right, I want you to email me at kevin@mindingourbusiness.com or at the comments and just kind of share with me, or when you see it go on the various platforms, just kind of share with me how well are we doing? What are some of the people that you would like to see us interview? What are some of the questions, right? Are we making a difference? Engage us. We want to have those conversations, all right? So listen, without further ado, I was scrolling, peeping, I don't know what you want to call it, on Facebook, and I came across my dear friend Jim. And I'm saying, I'm wondering if this is the same Jim that I've met about 12, 15 years ago, because I didn't recognize the company. And it is. So Jim, welcome to the platform, brother. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. So I meet you about 12 to 15 years ago.
Yep.
And you had a sauce, and it was called FunniBonz, correct?
That's correct.
And so when I saw the product this time, it says down to the bones, and I wasn't sure, so I had to inbox you to make sure it was one and the same, and it was. And so as we were prepping, you kind of gave me the story. So if you don't mind sharing the story with us again. So first of all, FunniBonz, the original, what kind of sauce was that?
So yeah, I started a company and started making a barbecue sauce. And I came from the business world. I was totally in different environment, marketing and sales. But I came up with this sauce and started making it in my mom's kitchen, making it at a small level, and people really loved it. I started selling to friends and family, and within a short period of time, it kind of grew and grew and grew. And the sauce it's an all natural, it's a sweet and tangy style barbecue sauce. It pairs well with everything: chicken, beef, pork, fish. It cooks really when you put it in the oven. It caramelizes. It doesn't fall apart and burn like most sauces. So I came across like a unique blend, and once people try it, it's really non-regional. It doesn't really have it's not like a Southern style or a Texas style. It really kind of flows across all different regions of the country and things like that. So people love it. So that sweet and tangy style sauce. Something else that separates it is it's all natural.
Yes.
No artificial flavors, colors, preservatives, gluten-free, non-GMO. Try to get all the things in there I could probably get to try to make it as healthy and health forward as possible. So, he was actually carried in Whole Foods for, the Whole Foods Northeast region, Mid-Atlantic region, and Southern Pacific region. So it was, definitely Whole Foods certified product.
So now let me stop you, Jim. So
yeah.
When you first came out, it was FunniBonz.
It was FunniBonz, correct.
How did we move to where the name had to be changed and you came back out with a new name? I want to hear that story, because that part of the story was interesting. So how long were you operating under FunniBonz?
I started FunniBonz in 2008.
Yes.
And it is a journey, is what it is.
Yes.
Being an entrepreneur is not typically, you hear about people that make a product and do something, and they all of a sudden, overnight they make all this money, and that's a lot of people's vision or perception of what an entrepreneur is. And in reality, it is it's a process, and it's a journey, it's a learning experience, especially learning a new business, or learning how to navigate within an industry. Also, within, having the knowledge or skills to be able to create a product and having that artistry of that side of your persona. But then on the other side, you have to have the business, acumen in order to try to continue to, so you have to be able to wear multiple hats at multiple times and do different things in order to make yourself successful. Let me
stop you, Jim, because I apologize. I want to ask this question. So you said that you started making the product in your kitchen, right?
I did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How?
My mom. Yeah.
In your mother's kitchen. How did you ramp up with the consistency? Because I know a lot of times, I call myself a weekend warrior, and I'm making a sauce, right?
Right.
I may make it well this Sunday or this Saturday, but if I come back next week, it might taste worse or better. So how did you keep the consistency as you were doing batch after batch in a small environment like your mother's kitchen? How did you keep the consistency for that?
Well, it's pretty much, getting the right formula down, getting that, not just making, putting a touch of this, touch of that. What I did is I took my product and, I made I made a sauce.
Yes.
And then once I got the sauce to where I liked it and where I thought it had, is where I needed to be.
Yes.
I measured everything out, got everything down till it almost that's where, you wear a different hat. All of a sudden I'd learned about food science, and how things operate within the food, within food itself, so so I took the recipe, which is cups and teaspoons and things, and turned it into weights.
Yes.
And so now you're able to scale your product up and down, and everything comes out. If you do it the exact same way, at the same time, you have the same weight for each product, and then all of a sudden now it becomes consistent.
Yes.
And which is what you want.
Now, so how large were the batches that you were producing in your kitchen before you had to finally move out of your mother's kitchen?
Well, believe it or not, I was doing it in pots. I had a 5-gallon pot on the stove, or things. I was making it, and but like I said, it started out where I was making it. I made the sauce. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. We love cooking out and barbecuing and stuff. We're using the sauce, and then, next thing you know, I was like, I really want to make this. So I started putting it in the jars, and then my dad had a poker game. People came over and they were like, what's this? I was like, my son's new business, whatever. And this is within the first week or 2 weeks, whatever I was making it.
Yes.
We try it. And I said, yeah, sure. I, let them try it. And they were like, oh my God, this is insane. This is amazing. Can we buy it? I was like, I guess. Yeah. And, so all this sauce I just made, everybody came and bought it all. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I had to remake it all over again, And so next thing you know, I'm making it, and I have people are calling me or asking me for it. And, went down to the farmer's market and local farmer's market, started doing little stuff there. And the next thing you know, I'm like, I need to get a co-packer. I can't continue doing this.
Yes.
I can't continue making it so I started turning my hobby into a business, and really started looking at the business aspect of how to do it. And, my philosophy is always, I was always like, begin with the end in mind,
Absolutely.
I always want to start and say, okay, where do I want to be, where I want to end up. And I'm like, I want to be a multinational product, just all over. I want to be the top 5 barbecue sauces on the shelf. I mean, just high aspirations. And it was to the point where, if you shoot for the stars, you might land on the roof. You know what I'm saying? That's the deal. So I was shooting for. I want to get the big box. I want to get into big retailers and chain stores and grocery stores, and I mean, and then of course it's like it's almost unrealistic because being a barbecue sauce, which are hundreds of barbecue sauces on the shelves, very competitive category, and all of a sudden trying to get into retailers when not even knowing anything about the food business. It was almost like a little bit of ignorance is bliss type of thing where I went in and I was like, I have my eye on the prize. I'm going to get to where I'm going to go, use all my marketing sales skills. So to get back to your question, how it changed from one to another, I started FunniBonz, and I went from making it in my mom's kitchen. I found a co-packer that would make the product for me. They made me a small batch, small run. It was 60 cases of product, 12 packs. And so I bought the product. I had this stuff. I made these labels. The labels were awful. Everything was, it's just awful, but I had this product in my hand. And I'm like, I got to get this in the store. So I started going door to door. I started knocking on doors and going, finding buyers or finding people, the grocery manager or finding whoever I could find in order to see, I finally went into Pennington Market.
Yes.
In Pennington, New Jersey. And I went in and I said, hey, listen, I'm a local guy. I made this barbecue sauce. People really like it. I would love to come in and I'd love to see if you'll, allow me to sell my sauce in your store. I know you guys do a lot of local support. And it was the meat. He was in charge of the store manager. He was like, hey, you know what? He said, do you do demos? I was like, what's a demo? He's like, oh, you come in, hold the thing. I said, no problem. I said, I would love to do that. He said, all right, tell you what, I'll give you a shot. Bring your stuff in and you set up here and do a demo and see how you do. You're bringing like 2 cases, you pack 12, right? Okay, yeah, bring them in. See how you do. So I came in. It was on February 4th of 2009. I went in there. And so I went in, I set myself up, did my stuff, and they had a case full of chicken on sale. And so I said, I'll do chicken. So I made some chicken. And the next thing you know, I sold through that. I sold through my 2 cases, and I not only sold the 2 cases, but I sold 10 cases that day. And they were like, what? And I blew out their chicken case. They were like, my God, you got to be kidding me. Can you come back tomorrow? I was like, absolutely. Came back, said, bring some more product. Great. I came back on Saturday and I sold 12 cases. Yes. And they were like, I can't believe this. It's like people normally sell 4 or 5 jars, whatever it is. And I was selling, in like cases. Yes. So they were like, can you come back next week? So next thing you know, now I'm in the store. I'm selling all these, the sauce between January, I got it in January 3rd. It was between January 3rd and February 15th. I sold $10,000 worth of barbecue sauce in the winter in Jersey.
Yes.
Blew out their meat cases, and then from there I took my stuff and I went to McCaffrey's and I got into 3 stores, and then he brought me in the meat section and I went to McCaffrey's and I did the same thing there. Then I got in Whole Foods. Then I got the ShopRite. Then I got just the whole thing that started growing. And within the first 2 years, I was at about 2,500 stores across the country. Wow. I started selling out.
Now, Jim, let me stop you. So, because this is the Entrepreneur Enclave, so I've got to ask this question.
Yeah.
Once you got a co-packer, now where are we? Are we going by the business plan? Had you not created the business plan? Where was that? And then how do we pick up the marketing aspect of the business plan? Talk to us about that first.
So I did after I got into my co-packer, and
Yes.
in between that period, I started creating a business plan.
Gotcha.
I need a roadmap. I need to see where I'm going,
Yes.
you know, and a business plan is a living, breathing document that's going to change. It's not, people think they write a business plan and that's it,
Yes.
you know, but your business plan is really your guide, and it kind of changes with you know, it kind of gives you a vision of where you want to go, but it also changes and allows you to maneuver within your business or within your industry.
Yes.
So I created my business plan at that time, and I started looking and trying to figure out the market and trying to figure out where my product fit and the pricing of my product, and just every you know, my competition, all those things you have to kind of like look at, and then you have to figure out where you're going to get financing from, you know, how much you're going to need, how much, you know, what stores you're looking to get into, or, you know, where, all those kind of things. So that I did do that, and, you know, a business plan helps a lot.
Yes.
But once you get into actually the business aspect of it, it's just a guide, and you have to really kind of be nimble enough in order to change trajectory and to do things in order to make sure that you're going in the right direction.
Yes.
So for me, you know, as I was growing, I grew so fast, which, you know, they always said, you know, you know, success can be your biggest enemy, you know, I mean, and for me, it was, and I, because of the fact that I went in, you know, without financing, and went in just, you know, making it, and I grew so quickly, and I got into all these stores and didn't really know the business the way I needed to understand and know the business the way I know it now, is, you know, I had made a lot of mistakes.
Now at this time,
yeah.
Jim, you're doing this by yourself. There's no team, right?
There's no team.
Wow.
There's no team. Yeah. Yeah. There's no team. I mean, every store I've been getting into, I have no brokers. I have no representation. People trying to get me into stuff. This is me now. Of course, my family is around me, and now, you know, my mom and my sister and my dad and everybody. We're going to food shows, and we're doing farmers markets, and so, you know, I have the support of my family around me.
Yes.
But as far as, like, you know. And I also had a business partner, my best friend in high school.
Yes.
You know, he you know, put some money in, he put some aspects of that kind of thing in, and he was just kind of like a guide to me, you know, but we kind of talked back and forth. But as far as the everyday and understanding the business and getting things done, and it's all me, you know, it was all me.
Wow. Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, so with that being said, grew the business, and the business grew very, very quickly. And I got into, by the time it was, you know, after the first 2 years, I was in about 2,500 stores. Like I said, I was selling throughout the United States. So I was selling, up to Canada, down to Hawaii, through the Caribbean, and then I started selling into Singapore, and then to Hong Kong, doing some international stuff. And then it got so crazy big that it was everybody, what I didn't put into terms and what I'm dealing with on the back, like, you know, knowledge is key, and experience is everything, you know, is understanding that, you know, what margins are, and how everybody has to make their, you know, I was in thousands of stores, and I could have made more money in 10 stores than I could in, you know, 2,500. Yes. And it's just about the fact of, you know, understanding your margins, understanding where your money's coming from, and understanding how much you have to have, you can't compromise on how much you're going to be able to bring in order to make the business successful. Because if, you know, what I was doing is I was trying to figure out, you know, everybody was making their margin, everybody was making money but me, you know, and so I was the one getting squeezed in the middle. And at the very end of the day, you know, I was the one that had to deal with all the marketing stuff and all the billbacks and all the in-store advertising and all the, you know, that all comes out of my pocket, you know. So, but everybody else is already, you know, everybody's making their money and padded up, and I'm the one on the back end. So you got to kind of, you know, on the second round of this whole ordeal, I'm looking at it and saying, I need to, you know, if I ever had an opportunity to do it again, I would do it a totally different way. I would look at things totally, I understand the market a lot more. I understand the business a lot more. I understand the food industry a lot more. It's been so with that being said, I got to the point where I had to make a decision. It's fun.
Let me stop you again, Jim. Sorry. Now, when you were with your co-packer and you were selling beyond New Jersey, who was responsible for mailing or delivering those cases to those other states and then internationally? Who was that? Your co-packer, or that became your responsibility too?
No, that becomes it's my responsibility to find out how to get it into stores. So
What?
You had to find out. Well, and now you had to add in another layer, which is your distributor.
Yeah.
So now you have a co-packer who makes your product, and when you get your product, you have to find a distributor.
Yes.
That is going to buy your product from you and then take it in and then resell it into a grocery store that you have to go and get. So I have to go get ABC grocery store.
Yes.
And then once I and this is something you learn as well, I was doing it backwards, where I was going to a distributor rather than going in and selling into the grocery store. I was then all of a sudden it puts the power in their hands, kind of like, and allows them to control the margin. So if I go into Whole Foods, for example, and I'm selling into Whole Foods, I strike my price and my agreement with them and know exactly what I'm doing. And then they say, okay, our distributor is XYZ, UNFI. Yeah, so great. So then they say, then Whole Foods are going to go to UNFI and say, hey, we want this product and we're going to bring it in at this price and so on and so forth. And then, then I get in contact with UNFI and say, hey, listen, I'm bringing my product in at this price. And then, they get their margin, which is a fair margin. And then they're able to distribute into Whole Foods because Whole Foods is requesting it from their distributor.
Yes.
But at a certain point I had 12 different distributors. I was in all the major distributors. I was in a lot of minor distributors throughout the country. And I had ones in California, and I had ones in Texas. I had ones up in Michigan. I had ones that are through. I had all the big boys, everybody that was a main distributor into the retail sector. I was part of.
Wow.
So it's hard to get into one distributor. That was. But I was able to navigate my way and got into a lot of them. Yes. But however, like I said, it's great getting into all these distributors and doing all these, getting out of the stores and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, it's the bottom line. And you look at your numbers, and your numbers aren't working in your favor. You're doing all of this work for nothing.
Now, Jim, my next question. So, once you move out of Jersey and people are requesting your product, how were they requesting your product? How did they hear about your product? Was there like this national campaign? Did a news station pick you up? Was there social media going on? How did they, beyond Jersey, beyond Pennington, how did the rest of the world know about your product?
Well, a lot of it was me. I mean, I had to go. I was doing a lot of shows and a lot of fairs and a lot of festivals, all over the country. They featured me in the Wall Street Journal. I was in New York Times food section. They had, so I had I was on MSNBC. Yes. I was on, where else? CNBC. I was on a bunch of different outlets, and then of course all the local things that we have around Trenton Times, Trenton Tony, and all that kind of stuff.
So how did you get to the big national outlets though, like CNBC? How did that happen?
I did them through the Fancy Food Show, and I was at the Fancy Food Show. I had my booth, I had my whole thing, and I was. I'm always looking for an opportunity, and you always look for certain people. And I was just fortunate enough to run in and speak to the right people, and people that the Wall Street Journal came over to me, and she's like as she was talking to me, I didn't know who she was when she was at my booth, and she was talking to me, and so on and so forth, and then she came back, and she was asking me a bunch of things and asked me my story and whatever, and And I kind of told her, a little bit about how I got to where I was, and I got in the Fancy Food Show, which is, was the largest food show in the country. And she was just like, she came back and said, I'm writing. I'm from the Wall Street Journal. I'm writing an article on entrepreneurs, living a second life and living second chances and doing changing industries and doing something different. Now, I'd love to talk to you. I was like, so from there, I was able to got a full page thing in Wall Street Journal of my deal. It was really insane. It was insane. And so during that period of time, it's just being in the right place at the right time,
Yes.
reaching out to the right people, always having, I always try to promote myself as well as promote other people around me.
Yes.
Always offering, I'm always helping other entrepreneurs and trying to reach out and letting people know, there's, the experiences I've had, if you're going down that road, there's certain things that I have already done, and I've made mistakes, so I try to help people along the way and try to get them to that next step as well, and I'm like, I'm not perfect, and, but I do have a lot of experience and, as far as, making mistakes, which mistakes aren't always a bad thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. It takes a long time to recover from a lot of certain, but it's you gain that knowledge and you understand, if you don't learn from those mistakes that you're making and you understand why you made those and you're able to do it again, then it's almost a blessing because now you understand why certain things are the way they are.
Yeah. So you're doing all of this. You feel like you're at the top of the mountain, right?
Right.
When do you realize that, man, other folks are wealthier than me, but it's my product that they're living off of?
Yeah, when I realized that when I was too deep in, you couldn't really, and you can't turn around. It's like, So I mean, I realized that kind of when at a certain point I was like, it got to the point where I started bringing on a bunch of investors and partners and things, and it got to the point where my percentage of the business was decreasing, and I was still in debt, and to be able to change, it's hard to change your pricing strategy once you're already in a grocery store. You can't I can't come back and say I'm going to increase my jar, $2.86, from where, that's why they're squeezing you in the beginning and trying to get the best price out of you they can, and not knowing that, you can say no. You can say, no. Mm-hmm. And that actually will take you a lot further than saying yes and struggling through it, and not reaping the benefits of your labor. But, I have, I guess I got to the point where I was feeling like there's really no way out of digging out of this 12-year commitment that I've made and all the things that come along with it. But I had an opportunity where I had one of my friends introduced me to his friend. And the person I met he's in the food business, making, a lot of money in the food business. And he, basically came and said to me, I want you to bring your brand and bring it under my umbrella.
Yes. And
allow me, you come in and, the things that you do in order to build your product, and you have a great product. Number one. Number two is like, you know how to get into places, and you have to position your product and all those things. Bring it under my brand, under my umbrella, and I will go and help to, let you do what you do. Yes. And I'll support the brand financially and all the back office work that you've been doing, all that kind of stuff that you're wearing 10 hats. All I want you to do is focus on selling and building the brand. So when you meet him, when you're introduced to him, does he ask to see your business plan? Because he's coming in as a potential investor. Does he ask to see your business plan? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And so he already knew that the margins were upside down, but certainly not in your favor.
Well, I mean, if you look at the business plan, the way that it was structured, the way that things that I knew, it didn't. The business plan that I had, like I said, it changes and it grows, but it wasn't. It was at the point where it was able to be something I could just take and make a brand new business out of, and all of a sudden become successful.
Yes.
And that's kind of where he came in and said, I'm going to. He's like, I don't really need your stuff. I am going to take this. And I'm going to change all these things. I'm going to change the face of your product, so it's not going to be as this and that. And I'm going to change I'm going to take basically all my jars and all my products I sign all my jars and I have my name on there. I don't have, so it's a personal kind of a thing that I have with the people that I'm selling to. I want them to know that it's from me. So he took me off of everything. I mean, so it was very, very stark. There's no my FunniBonz was tongue in cheek. So I had it was like, ain't nothing funny about a sauce is good. Just like I had just like these things, or just one taste and you'll be hooked. Like silly stuff, and all of our taglines and our copy and stuff on the back was all. It was tongue in cheek, and people loved it, and so it was personality within the brand.
Yes.
But when he got it, he made it very, very generic and very, very stark. I think you'd call it taste the flavor or something like that. It made my character, my bone character, made it into like a just very outlined, very stark.
But I mean, prior to this happening, did you have any say? Did he lay out what his marketing strategy was going to be for you and for you to buy in or get your approval?
Well, yes, and I mean, but his strategy was he's like, because like I said, he's in a lot of the major retailers across the country, and well, actually, and he was making multi-millions of dollars a year, and he had a formula. I'm like, so at that point, I'm like, this would be a good relation. This would be a great partnership for somebody who is in the industry, knows the business, is able to fill in the parts that I don't know, or I'm willing to admit the things that I don't know, and help facilitate and help me grow, and we can grow together. That was a goal of getting this done.
Yes.
But once this all came about, and as a partner, we've been as partners, and I took a lesser part of my position of my company in order to have the bigger piece of pie.
Yes.
The big, So that was the whole goal. It's like 100% of 0% of 100 is zero, but 25% of a billion is a lot of money, So, I'll say, I will do that. I will share, and came in with another partner, and once the ink was signed on the paper, everything changed. All of a sudden it wasn't a partner. I was basically working for him, and I was just following his line over course 2 years. Literally nothing was done. My brand was buried. It was just all about rebranding the product and doing all these things. Next thing you know, not only did I not have my company, but it was just the fact that it was like I'm working for somebody, and I'm not doing the things I do, and all the creative side of me is gone. I can't be creative. I can't produce. I can't do all the things I normally do.
So you're saying within that contract that you signed, he was trying to bury your company where you had no say.
I had no say.
Wow.
He was the boss, and he ran the ship, and it was his way of the highway, and that whole thing. And I was running.
And by the time you signed, it was. Did anybody review the documents with you?
Sure. Absolutely, yeah, and to be honest with you, it's not. It wasn't the fact that it was saying it was a bad deal or it was a bad contract. It was this. It was just the players in the game.
Got you.
That it could have been very different. If I could have if you let me do what I do, you can't put an eagle in a cage and expect him to fly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like, and that's where I was.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, I got to the point where I was like, I was miserable. I had 2 years of this whole thing. It was just below 2 years, and we got to the end of this whole contract, and COVID came.
Yes.
COVID happened, and he decided that he was going to now dissolve the company and no longer pay me, and all that. So at that point, it was the business relationship was dissolved, and I took the opportunity to take COVID, and I could either have rolled up in the corner and shriveled, or I could take that and dust myself off and pick myself back up and take a deep breath and move forward, and start from square one. And that's what I did. So I started building, I started growing, and I renamed my company from FunniBonz. I took I took the name Down to the Bone, which I loved, and I thought it was a great name, and it worked out well. And I branded that and put that together, and I built my sauces around there. And like I said, now I have the opportunity where now I started Barbour Specialty Foods, and I own 100% of my business, and have the opportunity to do it all over again.
Is the formula, is the formula still the same?
Oh, my formula is still the same. Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, still the same.
So he did no tweaking to the formula.
No, because that was the only part because I have a great product. There's nothing to tweak. And yeah, so you couldn't. The only things that he was asking me to do things in a business sense rather than a creative sense.
Yes.
And you can't tell somebody to paint this Picasso and I need it done in half an hour. It's like I need to be in my state, my mental artistic mode in order to create something or for it to be what it is. And I mean, I consider myself an artist, and I create with food, rather than paint. That's what I do. And then you have to I had to learn the whole business aspect of everything. And I know the sales and I know the marketing side of things, but then I have to learn the business side of it. But the artistic side of it, the creative side of it, is where everything grows from, and that's where I am the best, and that's where I'm able to produce products in order to make those things work.
Now, Jim. Now,
yep.
You said prior to you reaching this level of an investor, right? You were in over 2,500 stores, correct?
Correct.
Once you got with this investor, did you see more growth or the growth shrank?
Oh no! We pulled back out of all those. Yeah, pulled back all the stores, and then and I was in a few stores when we really started getting going. But then after that point, we really pulled out of everything because there was really nothing. We didn't produce anything. It was running around in a circle. We didn't produce anything. So I didn't produce any sauce, any rubs, any ribs, any chicken, in 2 years. It was like it was very frustrating.
Well, okay. So
yep.
You get the company back, and how do you amp yourself back up where you've got a new outlook on your margins, but now you're going back into those stores? How did that happen?
Well, that's all about building and maintaining relationships, and you can't put a price on doing things the right way and being a good person and doing the right things, all the time, and so, I'm fortunate that after this amount of time that, and like I said, I'm still in the beginning of my journey. I'm starting this all over again. I'm starting from scratch and moving into this, but with a better headspace. But, but understanding that, like, now I go back to when I started, I would go into a store, and I'm trying to find the person who's buyer, trying to find this, trying to find that, pushing, calling, being tenacious, but without being also overbearing, just trying to get that whole thing. And then finally getting that one account, and they'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe we got into ABCD, Now it's fast forward round two, and I walk into ABC store and I say, hey, welcome to Caffrey's. And I know the buyers. I know the people. They know who I am, and they know how I work, and they know what I do, and they know the person that I am. And so that it's a very easy conversation of me going in, and they know my product and has a different name now, but they know that what I do in order to get that product out in front of people, and what I will put behind myself, what I will sacrifice in order to get the product sold. So then, then also now it's like, oh, great, bring it in. We'll take this, we'll take that, and so on and so forth. And so it's a much easier journey, I guess, on this end, but it's 15 years of experience and sacrifice and learning what to do and what not to do in order to get to where I am.
Now, do you have a team now?
I do not have a team. I do not have a team. No, not yet. No. There's no. And to be honest with you, I'm doing things like I said, I'm doing things differently than I would before. Like before, I would have gone and I would have, I needed to get myself in the stores, and so I need to get a bunch of stuff. I can't be in 10 places at once, so I go and hire a bunch of people to do a demo team. And I spent a bunch of money on a demo team and get people out and so on and so forth. And it was great because then you get the momentum and you get people out, but then you spend a lot of money and you're trying to leverage these things that you don't have, and you're trying to get, it's like this whole thing where you're hoping for the future rather than, understanding and establishing what you have today, so
Got you.
I'm so now going into it again, I'm like, I don't need more than I need, so I need to be strategic, and I need to work smarter rather than harder. I shouldn't be killing myself every single weekend at 20 different stores trying to get it in people's mouths. I need to establish a marketing structure that's going to enable me to get that product out into people's hands in order, with less effort on my end, where I can focus on other things about growing the business rather than using my time, my energy in ways that I can't be in 10 or 20 different places at once.
Yeah.
So it's just being more strategic and at this point in this juncture in the game, I don't need a team of people that are going to draw off resources. I need to be strategic and grow the business.
Got you. Now, so where do you think your greatest comeback came from? I don't know if that makes sense. Where
no, it does make sense. Okay. I think my greatest comeback came from kind of really understanding, kind of finding out who I am.
Okay.
I think that's where it is. I mean, it's the point where, there are really bad days. There are days when you're questioning everything, and you're not sure if not only in the business, but it's because this is a lifestyle. This is not. I don't live the same life that everybody else lives. I live a very different life, but it's my calling. It's what I'm meant to do, and it's like it could be crushing. It could be a very devastating type of life. I mean, even having people around you and just it's very difficult. However, in the times that are the darkest, when you're faced with either saying, you either can hang up the towel and call it a day and either do something different or do what kind of, or not do anything at all, or you can really kind of find in yourself that who you are, and this is your calling, this is what you're meant to do, and then you have no choice other to get up and figure it out and move forward. And even when it seems like there's no way, or I felt like there was no way, this is done, and there's no way out, there's no way in, but if you're able to really stop and really self-reflect and understand who you are, then for me it became a point where it's very difficult, but I had no choice. I had to pick myself back up and move forward and rebrand myself and rebuild myself and rebuild my company.
Gotcha. So let's take a break for a second. And so tell us the name of the company again.
The name of the company, my company is Barbour Specialty Foods.
Okay, Barbour Specialty Foods, yes.
And my product is down to the bone.
Down to
barbecue
the bone.
sauce.
Yes.
Yeah. So right now I have barbecue sauce and I have smoked wings. They're pre-cooked, pre-packaged. They're in skin packs. They're 14-ounce packages. They're oven safe, so they basically take them out, put them in your oven for 15 minutes at 375, or you put them in your microwave for 2 minutes. You pull them out, pull back the plastic, and you would never know that these were in a microwave or that these were in the refrigerator. It tastes just like they came out of a smokehouse. They're pretty amazing.
And where can your product be purchased? Online or at a particular specialty store?
Right now, they're going to the sauces are carried at McCaffrey's and Pennington Market and in ShopRite in South Jersey, and then the wings are going to be carried there as well. Also, to find the product on Amazon at FunniBonz Barbecue and so Amazon, Pennington Market, McCaffrey's, ShopRite down in South Jersey. So, and like I said, I wanted to start slow. Wanted to start slow. So.
But it's interesting that you started out at Pennington Market. They never let you go. They still turned around to support you, and you're back there again for your second iteration. That's wonderful, man. That's
the first place I started. When I go back there, I go back into they already. They know that, and it's a wonderful relationship. That's what I'm saying is, like, you can't put a price on building a solid relationship with people and always doing the right things. Like, I can walk in there, whatever I bring to them, they always want to help me and promote me and do whatever they can do. And they do. They clear a section for me. They put signs up and have an artist come in and paint with a chalkboard with my bones and characters and. We have built such an amazing synergy and relationship between the two of us. It's been a great relationship, and I appreciate everything they've done for me.
Now I got a question for you, and I know you're going to be truthful, right?
Yeah.
When you came upon your largest investor, did you see cha-ching or did you see ching 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 ching?
I saw my largest investor. My largest investor is all the people that invest in me, my friends and family. Okay. So for me, it's even in this further iteration of my business. And although I own my business 100%, I still have I still owe the people that brought me to where I am, and so, FunniBonz was a long journey and that part of the journey has ended. However, this part of the journey is I wouldn't be on this part of the journey without the people that brought me to this point. So, when I got an investor and so he brought money in and it went into the business. So I never really went to me. It went into the business to grow the business, to help the business. And if it was a mistake or whatever, those kind of things are still built into who I am.
Because I remember, if I recall correctly, as we were prepping, you were saying that you went to meet with your investor at his house, and I guess somewhere in his car garage he had like 2 Lamborghinis, he had a McLaren.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm thinking, you're thinking like, touchdown, I've made it, so I'm going to be able to pull off a few of these dollars myself so I can live.
No. You're talking about when I went in and had a partnership, that whole thing. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. It was more along the lines of, I was so thankful the fact that I was able to finally find someone who was able to see my vision and understand what I do, and then was able to support me and also guide me. So I was ecstatic to the point where I was like, I finally made it. Like, everybody else, all the business made it, think people make it, and I'm still struggling, kind of, but I finally got to the point where I finally made it and got to that. And it turned into a very different scenario for me over the course of the 2 years. So, so we're starting again, but a much better position, and I'm much happier, and I'm much clearer, and all those things. So it's a much better environment.
Now my next question, falling off of that question, is, what would you share with a young entrepreneur, or what would you share with a thriving entrepreneur about going slow and controlling every aspect of your business? What would you share with an entrepreneur over those ideas?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, unless you have a product that is like a Snuggie, that is, you're going to get on to this platform and you're going to blow through it, and after the first year it's going to blow through Christmas, and then all of a sudden it's going to kind of disappear, and then you kind of you're in and out, and that's pretty much it. Those are products where you kind of need to grab the bull by the horns and get into it.
As a joke, your product is not like My Pillow, like the My Pillow company.
Right. Exactly right. Correct. It's not. Yeah. It's a very. Yeah. So yeah. It is a real. It's a product that people love. Love.
Now, I guess the next question is, but you already shared with us that, here you are in March in the winter, and you're selling product then. So what are your biggest months that you're selling your product, your sauce?
Well, it's believe it or not, it's funny. Like, I'm right now, it's November.
Okay.
And I'm already planning right now for spring, summer. I'm in spring and summer right now, because I need to focus on, getting into category review for products. So they, when the store goes and looks at a product, they say, okay, we're going to bring these products and whatever, and that all starts in, October, November, December, and then, into February, they make the final decisions. And then by March, April, May, they're sliding the products into the stores and things like that. So that's kind of where I am. And you have to kind of be cyclical on, planning a year ahead, and you're almost like, my summer is a winter and a winter is a summer. So it's kind of, and then of course my product has a higher season. Although people are barbecuing a lot more and all year long and things like that, and using barbecue sauce and different things and aspects, and that's one of the things that's beautiful about the sauce. It's not just for barbecuing in the winter, in the summertime, but most of the people are, you have a light switch that goes on Memorial Day, and then the light switch goes off on Labor Day, so you have that time. It's like, get ready, here it comes, and then Memorial Day clicks on, and people all of a sudden, they're like, it's almost like take a deep breath and go, man, I really like some barbecue, so it's like all of a sudden, then it goes through the summer, and you have that whole, so my season, my big season is between Memorial Day and Labor Day, but
only up north. But if you're down south, they're barbecuing outside all the time, right?
And that's absolutely it. It's like that you have parts of the country that are, I mean, and even now people in New Jersey will walk out to their grill in the snow, carve a path out, and and they'll use, they'll go and use the grill throughout the winter. But yeah, that's why you kind of have to pick out, like, North Carolina and Georgia and Florida and all the, Texas, these places that are using, are doing it all year long and all the time. So you kind of want to, be strategic where you kind of like place your product. So
yeah, no, I got you. Yeah. Okay.
But one of the things I am doing, you asked me about, advice I give an entrepreneur, and somebody who is new in the business or somebody who is in the business, but it's like, you look at where one of the things I really would say is, like, look at where your business is making money.
Yes.
Look at where the opportunities lie within your business.
Yes.
If you have an opportunity, like for me, for example, one of the larger opportunities for me is that I didn't take advantage of when I was going through it before, was a lot of online. Online has gotten a lot bigger, a lot more prevalent. And
yes.
For me, I'm able to reach a wider audience, a larger audience over country, with being online, being able to order down. Now people can order me in Texas and Florida, and I don't have to go and have that distribution chain that I would normally have to do in order to get my product down there. Now I'm able to reach a larger audience with an online presence.
Yes.
So, but just little different things that I'm restructuring, and you just kind of have to look at what you have to let your business tell you where it needs to make money, and rather than you kind of forcing your aspect, the way you think that business should be. Your business is going to tell you what it needs in order to be successful and where it's going to make money. And you have to listen to your business. You have to listen to what it's telling you in order to understand where your business needs the most, is going to be successful.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Wow. Now, do you find yourself speaking out to, like, young entrepreneurs, or going to business, business chamber of commerce, and kind of sharing your story with people now?
I have, it's been a little bit while, since COVID. Yeah. It's been a while since I've done it. But yeah, I've been invited down to University of Georgia, for the MBA program. They asked me to come down and speak, and, the local chamber of commerce and a couple, high schools and universities. I try to give back as much as I can, from what I have, and so if I have the knowledge, I want to be able to help other people and spread it, and and try to help people come along, because it's not an easy thing. And especially when you don't have any guidance, or you don't have I didn't have any guidance coming into this, so I wish I had somebody that kind of take my hand and tell me what to do, what not to do, and how to do it. And, I kind of had to learn on my own. And so if I've made the mistakes, I'd rather, I'm very happy to help and reach out to somebody else and let them know the mistakes I've made, so they don't make the same mistakes. And I've already made them.
And what kept you motivated and, not throwing up your hands after you've been through so much, like you've had the personal highs and lows? What kept you motivated?
It's just my passion for what I do.
Got you.
It's my passion. I know what I am here to do.
Got you.
I know that I'm meant to do this. I'm meant to, in order to be able to create, I need to be able to understand a different aspect of the business as well in order to be successful.
Understood. Jim, any shout outs you want to give to anyone, man?
I'd like to give a shout out to my entire family, who has always supported me and always helped me. And of course, like in the next round, they see it coming. They're like, "Oh no, here we go again." No, but they still give me love and help and support and everything else. And of course, all my supporters and, all my people invested in my company and invested in me over the years. They're still a part of me and who I am and what I'm doing. And then, of course, the most of all, I want to give a shout out to all of the people who have supported the brand over the years and who have come back and have helped me continue to grow the business. And bought millions of jars of sauce from me and to still continue to support me and give me words of encouragement every single day. So I want to thank everyone.
Okay. And one more time, Jim, where can we go to find your product, and how can people learn more about you and your product?
Yes, you can find the product online at Amazon.
Yes.
It's also in grocery stores. I just in Pennington Market in Pennington, New Jersey, at all of the McCaffrey stores throughout New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and also in the Rabbit ShopRite stores down in South Jersey, Cherry Hill area. And yeah, if you definitely reach out. Look for www.downtothebone.com, and it's number 2. So it's DOWN, the number 2, THEBONE.com is my website. But yeah, we're just starting, just growing, and love any feedback or support you guys can give.
Brother Jim, listen, I mean, if the sauce is still the same, you have my personal recommendation. That sauce was fantastic, man. That's all right.
I appreciate that, man.
I still remember that taste. That taste is still lingering on my palate after 10 or 12 to 15 years.
I love it. I love it. I appreciate that.
Yes,
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. So listen, man, let's stay connected. If there's anything that the podcast can do to help you grow your business, please don't hesitate. And the platform is always welcome for you. We want to hear about your growth. We want to hear how you overcome these challenges, because we want to celebrate the success of entrepreneurs.
Thank you very, very much. And I appreciate the time.
Yes,
and
sir, yes, sir, brother.
I appreciate it. Thank you again.
We'll talk and text in a minute, man.
All right, man.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
That concludes another episode of The Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. We hope you found this episode informative and enlightening. If you have any questions or comments about any of our episodes, please call 609-731-9311 or email kevin@minding-our-business.com. We look forward to joining us for our next one. Until next time.